Okay guys, hello, welcome back. We're going to be doing another session review video here, and this is going to be out of a 2,700 hand session, 4-hour and 13-minute session, as you see here. We won a negative $43.26. Basically, it's because of these two hands right here. Well, these hands right here. So like the biggest pots lost were outweighed the biggest pots won. One of them was the King King 10. We're gonna get to that one, kind of see if maybe I made the right play or not. And then Ace King, this is a coin flip basically, and then all of these are 10 and L. So as you see, there's a lot of green because we won a lot of pots in the 10 and L, but not many lost at 10 and L, as you can see. And I think that the ones that I did lose were pretty standard hands. As you see, I'm actually starting with pots that are 50 big blinds and over, and there's 30 hands to review. There are actually 58 hands to review, I think it was, that were 30 big blinds and over. And I'm thinking, like, I just don't really feel like reviewing so many hands anymore out of every session, because it's almost as if I'm reviewing just as much as I'm playing. And I think at this point I've pretty much got my game back to where it was before, and we can actually review a shorter number of hands. And maybe once in a while, like once every like 20,000 hands, I'll do I'm going to do like a compilation of all the biggest pots lost that were not coolers, and just to kind of put it all together and to really see where I made so many mistakes over like maybe a 20 or 25,000 hand sample size, which I'm actually at now, pretty much 22,000 hands, as you see here. These stats are really weird, kind of interesting, because I'm absolutely destroying 10 and L, as you see. This is really nice profits and win rates and all that, but then I'm getting wrecked at 25 and L. And this has to do mostly with variance. I lost the last 5 coin flips at 25 and L. I lost, and I've also had some King King versus Ace Ace and Ace Ace versus King King that are just, I'm not winning. Kind of ridiculous, but what are you gonna do? You just have to ride out the wave sometimes. We're going to go to replay all, and we're going to we're just going to start this action here and begin. So we have Queen King off, a lot of colors. We have a 41-29, a 60-0, and I'm thinking that versus an unknown, that my Queen King is going to be pretty solid against most of their range, and there's already 150 in the pot. So I think that I could actually attempt to squeeze this and maybe isolate one of these fishier players, 41-29 or 60-0, and another option is to actually just flat and see a flop and then hope that you flop really nice, like a 2-pair trips or a straight or something like that. So it looks like I'm flatting because I'm really trying to get into a habit of kind of being a little bit more nitty and really just trying to build up that bankroll, because I'm getting crushed at 25 and L. But not because I'm playing bad. It's really not that. It's mainly variance. So if I won all 5 of those coin flips, if they were all in my favor instead of losing them, and there was another really, really big pot loss that was like a $50 pot, a $50 stack, like 200 big blinds, $125 pot at the end of the hand, and that could easily have gone in my way. Then I had odds to call and all that stuff. So if I won all those, my bankroll would be about $500 instead of the 168 that it's currently at. So I do flop top pair, and it looks like I donk because I don't want to risk everybody checking. I want to get value from straight draws and weaker queens and 9x and pocket 10s and 8s and things like that. So I'm donking. Everybody folds except for this small stack, and so I just jam and we win. And they have 4 ace, so as you see, they don't really have anything at all. So 4 ace, that was a nice hand. Calling an open from Abra. Abra. I wonder if it's Abra or if it's like Abra. Like I'm a bra. Like, you know, bro, but bra. So this guy wants to min donk bet, and this guy ain't gonna have any of that, so he's gonna be raising it up, and I call, and I don't really see any reason to raise this player's raise. It's possible that I have this player beat, but it's only jack ace. It's not like I've won the lottery here. And so it looks like he's checking the turn, and I'm definitely going to bet this. I'm not afraid to bet that. He calls, and then he bets 235 on the river here, and it's really making me think that he doesn't really have a 10. Maybe he's afraid of being bluffed or something like that. And it looks like a blocker bet, so I feel like he has showdown value. He doesn't have a 10. That's my first read. But then, because he only has $6 remaining, I'm not going to be shoving over top of him, because he could actually have a 10 and he could just be playing it really, really weird. Or actually a 6. A 6. Yeah, if he had a 6 as well. So I think I should just call that. And he had 8 king. So a 23-14 is the stats that you would normally think is like sort of a pretty solid, for the most part, like thinking player and all that stuff, you know. But as you see, they're just being so random. He raises the flop with 8 king on this flop. He check calls the 8. He has no draws and nothing else, basically. And then he block bets the river rather than just check folding. Or turning his hand into a bluff catcher. He could have done that if maybe he thought I had broken flush or something. Just really, really strange way to play that. But I'm not going to complain because I actually won quite a lot of money from that hand. A hand that he had no business being in. So again, it goes to show you that 10-0 is really soft, and I don't believe that 25-0 is that much different. It's a little bit different. Well, at this site specifically, like a lot of hours during the day, it's very much a reg fest. The other day, I was playing at like 5 p.m. and I had 6 tables going. Every table had at least 4 red players, and the red players I have marked as regs. Some of the tables was just like 6 regs sitting there, all with stats that are probably like either mine or lower, like more nitty, like 18, 17. And there were some like legit 12 eights, and just super nits. So this player 3-bets, 5% 3-bet percentage, and it looked like it might have been more of a squeeze type of hand. I mean, I guess you could call it a squeeze, but not really. That's like a normal 3-bet size. He could have actually 3-bet a little bit bigger, I think, if he had a strong hand. But anyway, we flop top pair. It's a really nice flop, and he only commits to half pot. He's not committing to more than that. I feel like if he had like a super strong hand like ace king maybe, he would be committing more money. But you never know. Okay, so they check, and I bet. I don't want to bomb it here. Like, I don't want to bet 4 or 425 or 450 or something like that. Just because when they bet half pot and then they check this turn, it makes me think that maybe they yeah, my hair's all messed up here. They get a haircut. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I'm going to value bet. And then they do this. They want to pull out this card on me. They check jam all in. I mean, what is this? I got like $8.80 remaining. It's a really weird way to play the hand. And I'm just like, I don't know. I smell bullshit. I don't believe this guy at all. And this is not a way to... This is not a standard way to play something like ace king or some bullshit. The only thing that I can really think that is he might have spiked a set on the turn, like a pocket sixes, air balls, and draws are the only other things that I could think of. I think that I should be calling this off, but I mean, it looks like I fold because, you know, at this point, I was really, I think, trying to play nitty poker and just kind of conserve my bankroll and not get into too many high variance spots that I'm not really sure about. The interesting thing though is that I actually do believe now, the reason I was talking like that is because I remember this player's name, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that they did this to me later in the session, and they had complete airball. And so now I'm believing that maybe they do this a lot more often, like check raise and just do dumb donkey stuff. I mean, I think that in a normal day I would have called that, and there's a good chance that I would have been good. Only because they bet half pot on the flop into two other players. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was a good fold. Maybe it wasn't. But I did get to save about 90 big blinds right there. So they're opening. We got a 66-1 over here. And I don't really feel like squeezing. I guess I could have. No, actually, this player's 15-13. That's not really a good range to squeeze because they're not going to be opening very light most of the time. This is a good time for me to bet, I think, and I want this player over here to call me. And if this player has like pocket fives or pocket sixes or like ace, seven of spades or something like that, like they're not going to call. So they fold, and I'm getting heads up with this player. And I'm happy. I'm really happy betting my my second pair on this type of a board because there's so many draws that are going to call me. A huge amount of hand combinations that will call me that are not Queen X. And so they had 7 10, they shove the 7-10. Okay, so they shove the turn with a straight draw. So as you see, 7-10, any Jack X, pocket tens, 9-10, Jack X, as I already mentioned, all the heart combinations, massive number of combinations that are going to call me when you're a 66-1. So that was, I'm very, very happy betting second pair for value and getting the money in on the turn there. Very happy about it. And as you see, I was ahead. Squeeze an ace king off. I'd like to get heads up against this player. They're a little bit weaker, only because like I know how I've seen them play a few hands. Golden Boa. Oh wow. Yeah, this is a hand where I completely out-leveled myself here. Really, really out-leveled myself. And this is a hand that, like, right afterwards, I felt really, really shitty about, because this is... I think that this is just a standard call on the turn here. Because, I mean, I'm already committing $3 into 545, and then they're shoving over top of me. They could easily also have ace-king themselves. They could have, well, they could have ace-king with the ace of diamonds. They could have king-queen with a queen of diamonds, maybe. And, because the king hits, I mean, I guess they could have flopped a flush like ace-queen, ace-jack, jack-queen. So their early position opening, okay, it was like 26 or something like that. I think I was kind of like exaggerating my desire to kind of knit it up a little bit. And I mean, it is 50 big blinds, but I think that this is a pretty standard call, because I don't even, you have to also include some kind of a spaz range with these type of players at 10-0 and 25-0 as well. They might be spazzing with like pocket sevens with a 7 of diamonds or something like that. Ace queen with an ace of diamonds. I mean, I don't know. There's definitely a spaz range in most players' game. And I do have ace king here. So just disregard this. Like, try not to play this way. I don't think that I played that very well. If I'm going to be betting that, which I actually do think that I should have bet that, because queens with a queen of diamonds might actually call the turn bet as well. Jacks, maybe with a jack of diamonds, pocket tens with a 10 of diamonds. Yeah, I think that was me just completely out-leveling myself and coming up with the worst case scenario. Or maybe I have notes on them that they're like really nitty. But at the same time, I know that even nits can spaz as well. So I'm going to be isolating this limper over here, and there's no reason for me to bet this. So they check, and then I check, and then they bomb the river here. A 42-34. I mean, okay, so my first idea is that if they had a queen and they're 42-34, they most likely would have raised their kings and their queens. So the only queens that they could have that they didn't raise with are going to be things like queen 4, queen 5, maybe queen 6, king 4, king 5, king 6. So I'm thinking that they might actually have some underpairs. Okay, so it's either like they have underpairs or they have like ace high, or like the board counterfeited. I don't really know why I'm calling this. I think that this is a fine spot to just give it up and to check fold. If I'm going to be calling the $4 here, I don't really know why I didn't call the $5 over here. And then again, I actually was 10 tabling 10-0 last night. I mean, it's not like it's a negative $4 EV decision. It's because, I mean, there are some times where they're going to be having air balls and things like that. And so they're betting their second boat. They're over betting the pot with their second boat here. I guess it's because they figured I didn't have a king, which they were right about, but at the same time, it's like I don't really see why they would be over betting the pot there with a queen. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of times where they would show up with an air ball. Just not that time, apparently. Okay, so this player limps. This player raises to 25 cents, and it looks like I'm not actually I'm not 3-betting it or 4-betting or 3-betting. Like, I'm not isolating anybody, which I would like to have seen myself do. And again, as you see, like I guess I'm just really trying to be conservative. But 10 tabling is not like I was completely out of my league, because I was playing pretty tight. I don't think that any of my decisions are that bad. They're just a little questionable at this point. Like, check folding the ace king was pretty questionable. And I'm not really going to go anywhere with this hand, because I do have... so he shoves the 261 into 674. And there's no way I'm going to be folding this. And they actually had an ace, so they're calling me to the river with ace 10. I mean, they've got nothing except for an ace on the flop and turn, and then, you know, they spike their ace. So well played to them. Being 3-bet by an 8.7% 3-bet guy, deep pool over here. And he bets, and I feel like raising this, and I'm actually very, very happy to stack off here, because I have overs, I have the flush draw, and I also have a gut shot. So yeah. Oh wow. Okay. So look at that. That was pretty funny. So I'm raising his flop bet, and then deep pool comes over the top, and then I jam, totally standard, and he folds. So the first thing that I would do is make a note that they're a little bit bluffy, or maybe they view aggression as if the villain is being bluffy, and then they fight fire with fire by being bluffy themselves. This is like one of those things that I remember myself doing like 10 years ago when I was completely new at poker is this is a really easy way to burn money. Is whenever somebody raised me and I am automatically thinking like, oh, okay, like they're bluffing me obviously because like they don't have anything. There's 2 9s on the board. Like what could they possibly have? Like they don't have a 9, and they're not raising me with a 10. So I would come back over the top, and then they would shovel me, and I mean I'd be forced to fold. So I know what they're thinking. That was a standard hand. Okay, so I'm isolating Leroy here. All caps in their name. You know that I judge players that have all caps in their name. So he's actually limp 4-betting, which is always a pretty fishy line. And I mean I have queens, so I'm really not going to be going anywhere. And they had jacks, but I didn't need the queen, but that was a nice pot. So I'm being raised from the button here by nice job, pal. This player 3-bets pretty big, but we're also deep stack, or no, actually this is 25-0, so just forget about that. This 3-bet sizing is not very big at 25-0. There actually are going to be some 25-0 hands in here for my 10-0 session review. Just because, like, Hold'em Manager combines the sessions together. Like, if you play 25-0 and then you switch to 10-0, it'll combine them together. So they're 9% 3-bet, and I completely missed the flop here, but I feel like calling anyway. And now this board here doesn't really hit anybody's range, and so he bets half pot, and I feel like I should call that. Only because when the 6 hits the turn, and if they actually had an overpair, like a strong overpair, then I don't think that 6 on the turn would scare them away from betting. And somebody with a 9% 3-bet, like, they're probably going to be a little bit random with their C-bets. They're not really thinking about their C-bets very much, because this is kind of an out-of-line stat right there. The 9% 3-bet, I believe, is pretty out of line. And as you see, they have King 3 suited, so ace-high bluff catch worked in that spot. I mean, I'm calling $4 bets and things like that with bluff catchers, and I'm winning some, I'm losing some. But, you know, folding the ace-king off earlier was really kind of a weird way to play that hand. Okay, so we have ace-king off, and we're being 3-bet. And I decided, we're back to 10-0 now. I decided to 4-bet. Pretty standard, blind versus blind. I got ace-king off. And, I mean, I would prefer that they would just shove instead of flatting. But that's what they do sometimes. They don't really understand how to play in 3 or 4-bet pots sometimes. So because I flop a really nice hand here, I got this pretty much locked down, and there's nothing that's going to happen that's going to make me fold. So I think this is a really good time to check and to allow the other player to spaz, to give them their rope to hang themselves with. And I'd like to see myself check this. And we check. So even though I am 10 tabling, as you see, I am thinking about things, and I think that it's not going to be too much longer to where I'm going to be able to 10 table 10 and 0, and maybe 8 table 25 and 0, and actually be as successful as I was 6 tabling. I've been 8 tabling 10 and 0 for about a week now, and I think that it's going really well. As you see in this report section right here, I'm still just destroying 10 and 0. And my folds earlier, like with the king queen, I think that was a pretty fine fold. That was like the first hand, I think it was, when I got in check raised all in. The next hand with the ace king, I think in my head I was probably thinking like at best it's going to be a chop, and I didn't really think that he'd be. I mean, I guess he could have king queen with a queen of diamonds. But then I put some flop flushes in his range, and also like maybe sets or something like that. But I think I should have called that. Okay, so he jams, and I'm licking my chops right now. And see, so they're spazzing out with pocket tens on a king jack for flop. And I mean, if I bet here, they might have shoved anyway, but at the same time, like, because the board's so dry, this is an excellent time. And also, I already knew that they were a little bit fishy because they're just flatting the 4-bet. They're not shoving over top or folding. Like, you really should never just flat 4-bets, especially with pocket tens. That's really weird. So he spaz shoved 65 big blinds with third pair, and I take all that money, which is great. So I wouldn't normally be calling 8-9 suited like this from the blinds unless I felt like there was a really big fish to my left. So this is a good spot to donk because I have really nice equity, and they could have completely missed and they might just fold behind. So I'm being raised, and because it looks like they like their hand, I'm not going to be shoving over top. I want to see another card. Okay, so now we hit our gut shot, and it's not a diamond, which is amazing. So I decided to just jam here. So I'm thinking, like, if they want a flush draw, I don't really want them to outflush me. I'd rather just get the money in versus their value hands at this point and have them call me off and make it look a little bluffy. Like if they have like a strong jack or an overpair or a set jack 10 maybe. Yeah, so I think this looks a little bluffy right here. And they call. And they had a set. And because I have diamonds, I'm taking out some of their flush combinations just because I'm already blocking out some of the diamonds that they could have. So I'm gonna put them more in a value raise when they raise me like that, and they would easily call me with a jack as well because again I made it look a little bluffy. Pocket kings, I'm 3-betting, and wait a second. So okay, I'm 3-betting, and then I check. Okay. mean, you know, it's not the worst check in the world. The board didn't really flop very well, but at the same time, they could have pocket pairs that are over 7s. But maybe I was thinking that they have stats that are a little bluffy, that are a little aggro, and I might just try to give them some rope to try to bluff me here. And okay, so they are betting 68 cents into 185. Okay, so I wasn't really planning on check shoving all in, or I might have, because I think that if they had like pocket 9s and pocket 10s and things like that, they actually might consider calling me. Yeah, I think this was my plan, is I would check jam. I would like to have them have bet a little bit bigger than 68 cents, but at the same time, their small bet like this makes me think that they don't really have anything strong at this point. They don't really have a strong hand based off their bet size. So it makes me think that they might have a draw, maybe something like ace 5 or ace 3, or maybe like a flush draw, or maybe like, I don't know, pocket 8s or 7-8 suited or something like that. So I stick with my plan and I jam. And remember, this is 10-L, so it's not like I have to be like a genius with my plays here. So as you see, the money goes to them, and they had 9 jacks suited, so they call my flop shove with a jack high flush draw with nothing else, no other draws, no pairs, and they suck out on me. So whatever. The 3-betting with aces. This is one of those times where I think a lot of players will get into the habit of like shutting down when this happens, when the flop is dry and you spike your top set with your aces. But let me encourage you to, instead of slow playing it, fast play it, because I guarantee that you're going to get more value out of fast playing your top set like this, because the only time that they're going to be calling you is if they have an ace. They're not going to call you if they have pocket 8s or pocket 9s or pocket queens. They're not going to call 3 streets or a bet shove line. But if they have an ace that they like ace jack, ace queen, ace king, they are going to call you down. So they call, they check, I bet just enough to set up a river shove, and I don't need to bet too big, because I still want to keep in some of their under pairs to the ace. At this point, they're not going to be going anywhere if they have like kings or queens. Probably not at 10-L. So here, of course, the only thing to do is to jam, but they actually end up jamming themselves, and they had ace king. So when that happens, you have to fast play it. You have to get that money in. So we have jack ace suited, 35-18 open, flopping top pair, and they bet half pot. Now when they bet half pot like this, I could be inclined to raise this, depending on how frisky I'm feeling, how wild I feel like being for the time being. I could be raising this because the board is really drawly and they're not really committing themselves here, it seems like. But I don't know, I feel like maybe I should just see another card and then see what they do. But I think I could have raised the flop there. So I decided to raise the turn just because it's like, I want to get their money in, and if they have a jack, they're probably going to call me here. And so they jam over the top, and they actually flopped us straight. So, yeah. I'm completely okay with how I played that hand. I'm really, really okay with that. I never would have thought that they flopped a straight with how they're betting. So yeah. Being raised to 39 cents by Darth Rays, and I feel like 3-betting this player, and they all call. Hanky Panky over here, this is 60-0, and he called as well. So I'm pretty happy about that, and I think that I should just be betting this. So now, when the queen comes out, I know that this Darth Race player gets a little bit out of line sometimes, I would say. And because I'm checking the queen, and he checks the queen as well, and I don't really see them having a queen, because I think the only queen that would have called me was like ace queen on the flop, maybe. Maybe if they had a flush draw, but I think that there's a good chance that he would have raised or jammed his flush draw, because he's a little wild. So I want to bet this for value, get value from like 7s, 8s, and 9s, and maybe an ace high. That, because if he's calling with ace queen, then he also has ace jack and ace 10 and ace king as well, but probably not ace king because he would have 4-bet that. So I go out for a little value bet, and the guy just jams here. He jams on me, and I don't think that I've tanked harder in this hand, or in any hand in the past like 2 weeks, than I did here. This is a very, very interesting spot because there's not a lot of money left to call, but at the same time, it's not like I want to call this if I feel like I'm beat. So it's like $3 into 18. And, okay, so if you do the math, that's like a 16% confidence level, I guess. Like, you could say that, okay, so 16%, if you divide 100 by 16, you only need to be right 1 in 6 times, basically, for this to be a profitable call. If you think that this guy could bluff you or just spaz shove with air balls 1 in 6 times based off the amount to call that's in the pot, then this is going to be a good call. So I'm reading the notes. I'm trying to remember things that they've done in spots that we've been in that would allow me to believe that he could be doing this, because this just seems like a really weird spot to bluff. Like, there's not much left. He doesn't really have any fold equity, but then I'd have to remember that this is 10-0, and they probably don't understand fold equity as much as they would need to. And I mean, there's a reason that they're at 10-0, and I have to remember that too. So I tank. I let the timer go from like 30 seconds down to 5, and the whole time I'm thinking like, I want to call. I want to call. I end up calling, and I was just like, wow, the money's going to me. I don't know how that happened. And they had 9-5 suited. Complete airball. This guy was setting up a bluff from the flop. He checks the turn, and then he was committing to a river shove, I think, no matter what. His plan the entire time was to check the flop, or call the flop, check the turn, shove the river, no matter what happens. So I think that I played that hand really, really nicely. I really like how I played that. Three betting jacks here versus call M all. 29-13. I mean, okay, so it looks like I'm being like min 4-bet. So I mean, a little bit tight opening range out of 56 hands. No 3-bets yet. 0.7 aggression factor. I'm getting a really, really good price to just call this and hope I hit a set. Okay, so this is one of those times where, like, I don't think I'm reading through I'm not paying attention as much as I think I should be, because, again, I intend tabling. This is a really good time to just flat jacks, because that's like 65 cents to call compared to 876. That it's like the difference between the 65 cents and the 876. It's a big difference. And I could actually just get more information on the flop and play poker post flop. And I have to really be thinking to myself, like, are they going to be doing this with air balls and ace king and things like that when they have these stats? And I'd have to say no. I'd have to say I don't believe that that's true. So I think that I'm going to be behind most of the time whenever I jam jacks versus this player. I much would have preferred me to just call that off. And they had queens, and it sucks too because they had the queen of hearts. I'm gonna say that was poorly played by me, and I don't think that I'm ready to 10 table yet, but 8 tabling 10 now I've been doing really well with. The other thing with multi-tabling is that it's not like it's the hardest thing in the world, but because it's on 2 different monitors, I have 2 monitors here, and I don't like setting up more than 6 tables on one screen because I don't like having to like squint and like read really small tables. So I put 6 on one table and then 2 on the other, and then or maybe 4 on the other. In the beginning, I was 12 tabling 2NL, and I had 6 on each monitor. And these are 27-inch monitors. These are big monitors. These are super really nice monitors. I think I paid like $250 for each one. They were on sale at Best Buy. Like super nice monitors, really big. And eventually, I'm going to be buying the 30-inch monitors once I complete this challenge and I get a nice bankroll going again. I was going to do that before, but Full Flush Poker collapsed. So we're 50 minutes in, and if I can get these videos to like an hour and a half, because as you see, so I played for 4 hours and 15 minutes, and I want to get away from having the session review equal that time or equal even half of it. So, because I'm going to be watching these videos later as well, I think having, if I can get the video down to like 25% of my playtime. So we flop a set. This guy's donking into us, and the only thing that we can do is raise. Because if they don't have anything, they're not going to be setting up like a triple barrel bluff. and the pot's way too small to even want them to continue bluffing. Like you're gonna get like another $2, maybe $2.50. But if they actually have a really good hand or a really nice draw, then you can actually stack them. You can get their entire stack. So I'm gonna raise this up a little bit. I feel like I could have raised a little bit bigger, but it's whatever. I don't really want to scare away like Queen X, if they have Queen X maybe. So okay, they just end up jamming anyway, so I'm very happy to call. And they had Ace Jack, so this guy is he's bet shoving a gut shot. So he has 4 outs to win the hand. Yeah, okay, so he hits on the turn, but that doesn't matter because I had the board boats. But he had 8% equity. 16% equity. It's 4 times 4 because there's 2 streets remaining. So he had 16% equity. And it's wishful thinking to believe that even if an ace hits, he's going to be good. So, very poorly played by this guy. That was a very fishy shove on his part. But again, it's 10-L, and that's why it's extremely soft. 90 cents. I'm 3-betting Moody Tika over here. And I flop a boat. So of course I'm probably thinking that he has quads just because of the way that my life has been running so far at poker for the past 2 weeks. I don't really see any reason to check this. If he has a king, he's going to call. Under pairs are going to call. Ace highs are going to call. Flushes are going to call. And I'm going to bet this again. Not bet it too big. So if he calls 260, that's going to be 520. And then 520 plus 440 is 960. So I had to shove 670 into 960 on the river. And that's a really good shove price. And the guy just jams on me anyway, so it's like, okay. And 10 ace. He has a complete air ball. 10 ace off. And I think this Moody Tika guy, okay, we're on hand 19. Let's see. Queen, king. No. No. Yeah, this one. This is what I was talking about before. The guy 3-bets me. He bets. And then he check shoves all in, and I fold. But now in hand 19, he's doing that with ace high, just a complete airball. So the guy is obviously very bluffy. He likes to gamble, he likes to bluff, and that's one of the reasons why he's a 10-L still, because he plays like a monkey. So yeah, I'm calling you out here, Moody Tika. If you see this video for any reason, it's probably like a 1 in a 10 million chance that you ever come across this video. But if you do, I'm calling you out for being fish. You are a donkey, and I'm gonna probably call you down from now on because you're a donkey. You're bluff shoving into a boat, sir. Well played. Well played. So your first bluff worked on me. Just really lucky that I had a boat the next time. So we have pocket jacks, 36-18, only 11 hand sample size is not very meaningful. Okay, so this is another hand where I'm gonna slap myself on the hand for this one. Because, you know what? I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's that bad, because what I was thinking is the board is really, really dry. This is like the driest board that you could possibly think of when you're thinking about dry boards. 10-4 deuce rainbow is just ridiculously dry. It's like desert dry. And I'm thinking, like, is he really going to be doing this with a set? I don't know. I just don't think that he's going to be doing this with a set, because there's nothing to be afraid of if he has a set. It makes no sense. It really makes no sense to me. And I think that even the biggest fish know that you don't need to be raising flops like this with your sets, because it's so dry. Like, there's no draws that are possible. So I jam over the top. I'm just kind of thinking that he might be. I should have called him down, because I want to leave his bluff range in, and that's where I made the mistake. It's not necessarily that I jammed versus the value hand that he could have, because I kind of discounted that. I didn't think that he has a lot of value hands in his range here because of the board, but I definitely should have called and kept in their bluff range, because they could have been a little spewy here. Happens that he has a set of twos. You can't be results oriented. Most players will not be raising this with a set, I think. So we have pocket aces. 3-betting Darth raise. And Hanky Panky wants to play some poker again. So he's calling this 3-bet out of position. This board doesn't scare me at all. So I don't have to bet too much to get my stack in. So if they call like 230, that's 460 into 7, 8. So then I could shove like okay, I could have bet a little bit bigger, like definitely could have bet bigger here. 290 maybe, and then that would have put me at 680 into like $10 or something like that. And I would like to set myself up for a shove on the turn on this board, but I get min raised. And so I'm like, okay, like he probably has me beat, but at the same time, he's hanky panky. And he had Jack 10, so how am I going to fold that though? How am I ever going to fold that on the flop? I mean, there's already $10 in the pot. Oh man. So what is my equity here? It's like 3 outs for the twos, 3, 4, 5, and then like 5.5 because the turn could actually pair the river as well. So that's like 20-something% equity that I have versus a 2 pair. I mean, I guess he has sets too, but I don't know. I feel like he could have some randoms like draws and like maybe queens or kings or a strong jack or something like that. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, you got to suck out sometimes, right? So we have pocket aces here, and I'm 3-betting this Olympus Mons. This is a really good board to just go crazy on. So I'm going to bet like 180. Yo, okay, so $2. I like that bet. Okay, so I'm being raised again here. It's like, what the hell is going on? Every time I have aces, I'm just getting too much action for my liking. Actually, over pairs in general, even the jacks before I'm being raised. So I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna have to go with this because what am I gonna do? And he has, okay, so he had a draw. He had a straight flush draw, I guess. I mean, God. And at this point, there was already $4 in the pot. And if I knew this player better, I probably could have folded on the flop here. But again, no. Okay, no. I'm going to say no because they could be doing this with draws. They have flush draws, straight draws, just queen ace maybe, air balls. So that's fine. I think that was a fine hand. I'm calling fives. Flop is set. And I could actually consider donking this. Yeah, so I donk it. I like to donk in these spots, as you probably know if you've seen my videos. I donk quite a lot. And I'd be donking my draws as well. So if anybody thinks that I donk draws and they raise me, then I can just jam and get my set in, and it's gold right there. Money. So everybody calls me. And I'm really, really, really happy about that turn card, because if anybody has a 9, they're probably going to stack off with me now. And I think that if anybody had 9-10, they would have raised the flop, and nobody's really showing any interest. And also the spade hits, so I'm going to bet this again. And I'm getting called here. He has a flush, so that was a nice hand. 8-7 suited. So I'm limping here, I guess. Okay, so I flop a flush, and I'm deep stacked against this player. And so whenever he donks like this, I don't want to slow play this at all. Not against Moody Tika. So I jammed the $2. I could have probably raised bigger than that though. But I didn't really want to scare them away just yet. I wanted to just kind of build the pot. The guy jams. He's being a complete donkey again. Yeah, so I'm calling you out, Moody Tika, again, is that you're a donkey and you don't really know how to play poker. Okay, so did you seriously just limp aces? I think he did. No, okay, no, he raised. So this is him overplaying aces, I guess. Because, like, you're super deep here. Not super, but, like, deeper than... I mean, I can't really complain, I guess, because I did the same thing earlier. But this board is really wet. Okay, so he wants to stack off with aces. I don't know. I feel like he could have at least called the flop and kept my bluff range in. But I did that with jacks earlier on the dry board, because I just didn't think that he had any draws, or like he wouldn't be doing that with set because there's no draws to be afraid of. It's a different board texture, different stack sizes, different situation. So I'm being min 4-bet, and we're a little bit deeper as well. So I would like to see a flop here. And the guy pots it, almost pots. And because he min 4-bet me, I don't really think that he has 10s. He might have jacks, but probably not. But at this point, I'm either going to shove or fold. And I think that I could shove this, because they're pretty fishy stats, it looks like so far. 39-25, and they call me, and they have ace queen. So I mean, What are you gonna do? I don't know. I mean, a little fishy for them to call that, and also to pot that flop like that as well. I guess I just had a read on their stats. I felt pretty comfortable with that play. Two kings suited. So because we have we have an 87-33 and a 50-0 in the blinds. I'm licking my chops here with two kings suited. And okay, this is money right here. High flop trips. This guy, if he has an ace, I feel like I'm gonna get his entire stack in. He bets. Okay, at this point, I don't feel like doing anything too crazy yet. I feel like I could leave this guy's bluff range in, and I also feel like I don't want to scare away this player yet if they just have like a medium strong ace. So the jack hits, and I'm like, that's a really good card because somebody could have two pair by now. And also, it's not a diamond. I mean, my whole plan probably would have failed if a diamond came out. But that's only like a 1 in 6 chance, I guess. So they bet again. This guy jams, completely fucks up my plan to leave this guy's bluff range in. Because now, I mean, if they don't have an ace, I guess, I don't know, $5. I was going to actually just kind of like min raise this, I guess, just to string them along a little bit. So I call, and they fold, so they don't really have an ace. Probably doesn't have an ace. And that jack card was like, kind of gave me a heart attack. But as you see, he's got 5 ace. Okay, like, there's no reason to jam this, Theo. When you have a flush draw, and you have a weak ace, there's no reason to jam that. There's just no reason for that. You should just be calling this, hope I call, give yourself a little bit more value for your draw. You're not ever supposed to jam ace 5 suited there. I'm sorry, just don't do that, Theo. And anybody else watching this that doesn't really understand what happened here, it's because you need to keep me in to get more value out of your draws, because your ace 5 suited probably isn't the strongest hand at this point. You're not going to be winning the pot unless a heart comes out. But he kind of spazzed out because he had the flush draw. He probably just didn't really know what to do. But that was definitely the wrong thing to do there, Theo. So I'm going to be 3-betting this guy. We're a little bit deeper. Okay, I mean, it looks like I'm being 4-bet. And he doesn't have a 3-bet percentage. And, again, I don't like my jam here. I would much prefer to have called this on the flop. I mean, I don't know. 29-13, 56 hands. How many sample sizes is this? Okay, so it's not many sample sizes. But they don't really seem like the craziest type of player. Okay, I mean, it's another coin flip. I'm losing all my coin flips. If I have queens versus ace king, I lose. If I have ace king versus queens, I lose. Ace king versus jacks. Jacks versus ace king. I mean, I'm just like, what am I gonna do? Another coin flip that I lose, I think. So I'm 3-betting. Oh, okay, no, I'm not. This isn't a coin flip. $3 pot, we have a 66 and a 41. There's no reason for me to be slow playing this. I'll let them see one more card. 10 cents, 10 cents, $4, $4, $4. I don't have any idea what they have by this point. Probably like straight draws, maybe like 9x. I don't know. So this guy, when the 3 comes out, he jams. I'm not going to be folding this, not now. And they have pocket 6s, you know? It's just so random. Pocket 6s. Yeah, so that was a nice hand. Okay, this is an interesting spot because I want to actually see if I made the right play. We have a 11.7% 3-bet guy over here, but actually from the small blind it's 17.8%, and from the cutoff. So if you take all these stats here, like that's definitely higher than 11%. If you take just the positional 3-bet, their 4-bet's 25%, and their fold to 4-bet is 50%. So their 4-bet out of 4 instances, and their squeeze is, you know, like, they seem pretty aggro pre-flop. So I don't really feel like calling them. I feel like 4-bet bluffing is going to be a pretty nice play. So I decided to 4-bet bluff pretty big. I definitely I'm just trying to get them to fold. They jam, and I think I call this off. And in my head, I assign them a range, and we're going to actually test out this range. It might look a little bit fishy that I called 10 king off, and we're gonna do an analysis here. 1 hour and 12 minutes into the video. That's really nice. 30 hands completed within an hour and 12 minutes. Okay. Let's put this over here. We're going to assign a range. It's on my other monitor here. We're going to assign a range of a pretty wild 3-bet defending. Like, players that do this sometimes have a pretty wide defending range whenever they get 4-bet, because I guess that they know that they're going to get 4-bet a little bit more often. And also they're just a little bit wild, I guess. So I'm actually going to give him like all of the ace. Oh, okay, so ace 5 and up. All the suited aces. King, queen suited. And also some spaz like queen, jack, and jack 10. Maybe, okay, maybe not pocket 4s. I'll take out pocket 5s as well. And then also, I gotta include some spaz range too. Like if they think that maybe I'm getting out of line, or maybe I'm 4-bet bluffing them, they might just be like a really crazy type of player. Let's give them some more suited connectors here, I guess, or maybe something like we'll give them 10-9 suited, 9-8 suited, just to give them a few more combos of spaz. Ace jack off, probably not. Ace 4 suited, I'm just gonna give them all that too. Give them 5-5 as well. I mean, why not? So I've got 10 of spades, king of clubs, and evaluate. So it looks like I'm at 38% equity versus their range here. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do an analysis of the equity pre-flop. So as you see, there's already 930 in the pot because I 3-bet. Well, their 3-bet's pretty big. I have to 4-bet a little bit bigger to get them to fold out their air balls. And whenever they jam, so $24.77 minus 645. It looks like it's $18 for me to call. The pot's already 31.32, so that would be 18 divided by, in parentheses, it's 31 plus 18. So it's the call size divided by the combination of the call size plus the pot size. And that creates your pot equity. So 31 plus 18 is 50. Let's just go for 50. 18 divided by 50, 36%. So I have 36% equity to call this. Yeah, okay, so this is correct. 36% equity to call, and I'm creating a where's my equity? I'm creating a range that's producing a 38.4% equity for me. This might not be accurate though. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna play around with this a little bit. We're going to take out 5s, we're going to take out one of those spaz ranges, and we're also going to take out those. And we're going to okay that. Okay, so it looks like it's at 37% versus 36% needed. I mean, I think in the future, I could probably just fold this because it's a break-even spot. And I don't really like break-even EV spots. And I think that I over-calculated in my favor. I mean, if we continue taking out some of the spaz range here, it's probably not going to look too good. So 34.45%. You need to include like a few spazzes, maybe 5-5, and a few more aces to get like 1% higher than what we need. It's good to know, though, that I'm not making an extremely negative EV decision. This is not a negative EV decision by any means, in my opinion. So actually, let's just continue. Maybe they don't actually understand their 5-bet bluff range, and maybe they don't do this with a lot of suited aces. So let's actually just take out some of these ace suiteds. And we'll take out those as well. And we're going to give them a little bit more premium. And it's a 32%. But I think that's like a worst case scenario. And, well, in my opinion, if I have a really big 3-bet percentage and I want to defend that, I'm going to be 5-bet shoving a little bit wider. Okay, so anyway. They have pocket 9s. Another coin flip that we lose, and I'm actually curious. Oh no. I mean, it's not really a coin flip, but at the same time, yeah. I mean, it's not really a coin flip. He's got a pretty decent equity advantage there. But because there was already $9 in the pot, you have to look at the equity, the pot equity. And I'm really fine with my 4-bet because they're going to be folding a lot of their range. A 15% 3-bet is going to look something like this. That's 4%. Okay, something like this. So a lot of these suited connectors, suited aces, strong aces, pocket pairs, something like that. That's a pretty standard 3-bet range. Maybe add in king queen off. Something like queen 9 suited. Sometimes they'll even include like some king x suiteds, and then maybe like take out some of the pocket pairs instead. Maybe like take out ace jack off, and because that might be in their call range, you know. But you can play around with it. It's basically like a lot of suited connectors, lower pocket pairs a lot of the time they'll 3-bet with. And they're going to be folding a very wide range of that versus a 4-bet. Okay, next hand. So I don't think that I played this hand badly. I think that it was just kind of shitty that it was a kind of a break-even EV. And that's why I do these analyses, to kind of get better at kind of feeling it out. Okay, I'm actually going to say that this hand, I was feeling a little bit tilted because I've been running like complete shit at 25NL, and I actually have lost 5 coin flips in a row at 25NL. Plus my aces, or my kings ran into aces. It's just dumb shit. Okay, so this player here, nice job, pal. I flop a top set. So this player is 3-betting pretty big versus these two players, and they have a squeeze percentage. They have a 4-bet percentage. Their 3-bet percentage is not too nitty. So I'm thinking that because I played a lot of hands with this player, I truly believe that if I jam over the top at this point, that they're going to fold a very wide range of their hands, like jacks, tens, all of their squeeze ranges, like strong suited aces and things like that. So I think that the best plan would be to flat, hope an ace doesn't hit. But I hit my set anyway. So what happens is it goes check, check. 6, a brick on the turn, and he bets 275 into 825. And at this point, a red flag is going in my head, and I'm thinking this guy has aces. Like, he's got aces. It's happening again. I'm being set up again. And it's like, what the hell can I do? I mean, if you flop top set, he has to bet this flop here. I could easily have an ace. Ace, king, ace, queen. I could have king, queen. He could bet this for $4 and I'd be calling with my kings, with my aces. Pocket nines. I mean, what the hell is he waiting for? When the 6 hits, I mean, is he really trying to get value from queens and jacks? It's just, he's playing this like such a fish. Like such a 25NL like noob reg, the way he's playing this. And I'm just getting tilted because I'm like, he's playing this as if he has aces. He's playing this so freaking bad. And I have second set and I'm getting tilted. I really am. So by this time, the jack hits, and he bets 650 into 1378. So I guess the only thing that I was thinking was that maybe he has a set of jacks, maybe he was slow playing his ace king. But I mean, I shouldn't have jammed here. I was pretty confident that 10 queen suited is not in their range for like how the action went pre-flop. And I jam, they call me, they have top set, I have second set, and I mean, I don't know what to say. It's 25 and L. I've been running like complete shit at 25 and L, and maybe some people would say that that was not a bad shove on my part. Maybe they have ace jack or something like that, and they're like checking the flop for pot control. But I was pretty sure that they had aces, just because I've played enough hands with them to know that that's not really their standard line to take. So, yeah. So, what is this? My EV adjusted is like 100 instead of the 256, but that's also including 5 coin flips, the kings, and also the other hand where I had kings versus aces, aces versus kings where I lose to the aces, and also that other really big freaking pot that I lost with the nut flush draw and overs to this whale shove that had like king 5, which would have been a $120 pot. So again, I mean, if all those went in my favor, the variance is massive. 10,000 hands and massive variance within a 10,000 hand period. So actually, it's, if you look at this and you sort by the biggest pots. So this is over 10,000 hands right here, okay? And let's just go for 1250 and above. Let's just check this out. Doesn't give me a number. We can just assign this to like bad beats, I guess, whatever you want to do. So then we can go to marked hands, we can go to bad beats, and 35 hands over 10,000 hands that I lost 50 big blinds or more. It's quite astonishing, really. 35 hands out of 10,000 that were like of suitable or notable size, you could say. And then actually, if you look at the way that, if I do it this way, this is really, really amazing to look at. So you can see that, oh, come on. And you can see at 25 and L, over 10,000 hands, these are the biggest pots either won or lost. Huge, huge string of reds, just ridiculous. This is insane. All of these reds, like half of them are probably coin flips that I lost. Pocket 3, set lost to the flush on the river. 4 of these I bluff shoved the river, where I actually do honestly believe that they were fine attempts at a bluff, and I got called. And this hand I didn't hit my flush when I had obviously enough equity to call. And I've only won 3 pots out of all these. And then if you go down even further, you can see that I have more green, but those aren't as big as the other ones. So the biggest pots lost were, I mean, that's a lot more reds than there are greens here anyway. But if you look at 10NL, it's like the complete opposite. So you can actually see that massive string of green and only a few reds. A block of reds there, but then a big, huge line of greens here. And these are all nice sized pots. So as you can see, I'm running like shit at 25-0. And I'm gonna probably keep bitching about it until I get back in the green, which I will do eventually. But anyway, peace out. Thanks for watching. I really hope that these videos are helping somebody out there, and I'm gonna keep doing them. And until next time.